Hello everyone, welcome to the weekly time blocking planning calendar template demo. But if you haven't purchased this template, I'll leave links in the description box so you can go ahead and grab your copy. Before I get into the demo, I'm going to show you what the template looks like when it's purchased. Then we'll head over to the demo copy so I can show you exactly how it works. So here's a version of the template that has nothing in it, meaning that when you purchase this template, this is what it would look like. It comes with the instructions tab, the setup tab, the weekly time blocking calendar page, and the monthly calendar page. There is also another version of this that you get for free, which is identical to the one I just showed you. The only difference is that this comes with a habit tracker area that you can use to track your weekly habits. All right, so we are in the demo copy of this template, and the first tab is the setup tab. And this is where you would add your task categories. It does come pre-filled with 10 task categories. However, you can completely change this around. Double click to edit the text and delete the ones you don't need, but you cannot add more than 10 categories. The next tab is the weekly time blocking calendar. This is where all of the planning is going to take place. The other tab, which is the calendar tab, which I'll get to in a second, is more of a view only tab. This is where you would view the information that you have put into the weekly time blocking calendar. All right, so we'll start from this part of the calendar. And the first part of this calendar is where you would select the week you want to start planning your week. So here we have December 25th, and let's say we wanted to change it to a week in January, and our weekday starts on Monday, so we'll change it to January 22nd. You can see here that today's date is January 22nd. When you look over here, you can see that the date also changes to January 22nd. But let's actually say our week starts on Sunday, so you change it to January 21st. And as you can see, this date stays at January 22nd because it automatically selects today's date. And here you can see it changes to January 21st, which is the day that we have decided we want the week to start. In addition to selecting the start date, we can also select the start time. So here it's 6 a.m., but let's say we usually start planning our week later in the day, 8 o'clock. So we would select that time. And when you do that, it automatically updates here so that we can use this time to plan out our week. The next place you will want to update is the year. So we're going to change this to 2024, and we're going to change this to January. We have selected our week start date to be Sunday. We want to make sure that the week starts on here corresponds to what day we want our week to start. And this affects the calendar here. So we want to make sure that the week start date here corresponds to the week start date here. It doesn't change how the template works, but just to have it consistent. So I'll change this to Sunday. So now that we've done that, you can see that the calendar changes here. So we can see here is January 2024. Week starts on Sunday, and it has the week numbers for us, week 1 through 5. It selects today's date because today is the 22nd of January, and it highlights the current week. So if I were to change this to February, for example, nothing shows up here as highlighted because February is in the future and the current week is not in the month of February. So change this back to January. All right, so moving forward, we have an area that is a to-do list area, and this is where you would add all of the tasks that you need to do. Let's say that you had decided that at 10 o'clock at work, you were going to write product descriptions. Here, you can put in the specific task that you want to do related to product descriptions. So maybe the task could be complete template listing. All right, so we have a specific task here. So even though it's related to work, and in work, we're just saying in this time area, we're going to use 30 minutes to write our product descriptions. In the task area, you're putting the specific thing that you want to do, and you can actually attach that to a deadline. So we'll add the deadline as today. And this is important because this is what's going to show up in the monthly calendar, which I'll go over later on. And so you would put in all of the specific tasks that you want to make sure that's done. Whereas in the time blocking area, you put in the time blocks that you're using to work on things generally. So the different things that you put here will not show up on the calendar because you're generally planning your week. While here, you're putting specific tasks that you need to complete and you're attaching a date to it so that you can visualize that later on in the calendar area and you can cross it off when it's completed. All right, so you can add up to 21 tasks here. You can cross them off when the task is completed. Moving on to the category time tracker. The reason why I created this is because I want to give you a way to determine how much time you're spending per category. Different categories we listed in the setup tab shows up here, and you can change the order. So because this is a drop down, you can select the ones you want to track. So if you don't want to track bedtime and bedtime routine, you can remove that, and it would only calculate your categories based on the ones you have here. And it also allows you to not put duplicate categories. So let's say I already selected family time. See what happens when I select family time again. It turns gray, and this is trying to warn you that you've selected something twice. It is redundant, so go ahead and remove it. The next column shows you how many hours that you have scheduled. It doesn't mean completed. It means the hours that you have scheduled in the entire week in the time blocking area. And the next column is a percent, and the progress bar visually shows you where you spent your time. So you can quickly visualize, okay, I spend the least amount of time doing chores and I spend the most of my time working. Maybe next week you want to spend more time sleeping or whatever it is you want to spend your time doing. Moving on to this, you can see that this area is frozen so that you can scroll through the different days of the week and you still have the time available for you right next to the different categories. All right, so let's delete some of these so I can show you how it works. So if you delete this, it just shows up as blank. And then you can select the category. Let's say you start your morning with prayer. You can add that here. And then you can add another morning routine. So let's say you do yoga, for example, after that. And then your other morning routine maybe is to prep lunch. Basically, you select a category and you type in whatever you're going to be doing. And you go through all of that and plan your entire day. And let's say that the tasks are similar, okay? Across the different days, you can copy that to save time. So select all of it and copy. You can right click to copy, or you can use your shortcut keys on your keyboard. And then I can go through all of them and just paste them. Let's say for 8 o'clock to 9:30, these are the things I do every single day of the week. Only on Monday, then I could add a specific task here. So copying and pasting allows you to save some time, but then you can still go back and change the things that are different day to day. All right, so that's how this works. It's color coded and it's all automatic. So if I were to change this to morning routine, the color automatically changes. When the next week rolls around, go ahead and change the week start date. So we'll change this to the 28th and it automatically changes here. Let's say this week comes around and you want to change your morning routine. You can go ahead and leave what's already here and then change the things that you want to change. So let's say you only want to do 1 hour morning routine. You can delete this. And then let's say you're going to start commuting at this time. You can change it to commute, for example. And then you can do the same thing, copy and paste it to save time for the rest of the week. So let's say you come to this week and you want to change things completely around. So I would just decrease the size of this so it's easier to see. And I would just select everything and delete it. Okay, so deleting this only deletes what you have added. It doesn't delete anything else. And as you can see, you have a clean slate that you can start planning out your different activities. There's no problem with deleting because there are no formulas here, just drop downs and a space for you to type. So you can go ahead and start from scratch, type your morning routine and type the activity you want to perform for that morning routine. And deleting things here does not change anything in the monthly calendar area because the monthly calendar is only tied to the different tasks and activities that we're going to put in here and the specific dates that we have assigned to it. All right, so we're in the monthly calendar tab, and the first thing you want to do is also change the weekly start dates and the year and the month to start tracking your activities. So I'm going to change this to Sunday start because that's where I like to start tracking my week. We'll change this to 2024 and change this to January. So when we do that, you see we only have 2 tasks showing up. So why is that? Let's go back to the weekly time blocking calendar to see why that happened. As you can see, I'm going to uncheck this checkbox and you can see we have 1 task in January, and 2 other tasks in January. So that's why we have only a few tasks showing up in January. So let's say we wanted to change the rest of this task. So let's change it to January 1st. I'm going to go ahead and change all of the dates of this task to sometime in January. All of the tasks have been assigned a date in January. So when we go back to the monthly calendar, you can see that this sticky note area is completely filled up with the different tasks, and the calendar has the task in the dates that they have been assigned to. Let's start with this area. So you can see this says task due this month, and we do have this area that says overdue and due date. This is a key to guide us, and all of these turns this color because today is the 22nd of January. So any task that is before that date turns up in this pinkish color, and that's to tell us that this task is overdue. The color green, it means that the task is due. So as you can see here, it's showing us that this task is due today, and the tasks with the normal color are due in the future. So you can quickly at a glance see all of your overdue tasks and the tasks that are due today. So like I said before, this is a read-only calendar, meaning that the only thing you're going to do here is change the weekly start date and the year and the month. You are not going to add tasks directly here. If you try to type a task here, you will break the calendar because there are formulas here that allow this sheet to extract the information from the weekly time blocking calendar. You do not do it here. You go back to the weekly time blocking calendar and you change the task or the due date, whatever it is that you want to do. And then when we come back here, you can see that the list automatically updates. What you would use this for is to cross off the tasks that you have completed, okay? So as you complete the tasks, you cross them off here, it automatically crosses them off the calendar. So let's say we're in February. We're going to go change the calendar, move on to the next month in February. As you can see here, all of the tasks disappear. The checkboxes are still checked off, and this is because you have to manually uncheck these checkboxes. So that's the only thing you're going to do manually in this page is once you check the checkboxes off, it doesn't uncheck when you change the month. So you have to manually uncheck them so that if you have a task, for example, that is due in February, it doesn't show up as done because the checkbox has been checked off. So make sure once you move to a new month, uncheck the checkboxes so that the task is not crossed off as completed. So these are the tasks showing up from January. I'm going to change some of them to February so you can see how the calendar dynamically updates. So change this to February 6th, change this to the 7th, change this to the 8th. So now that we go over to the calendar, you can see because we have February selected, the tasks show up here and they show up as well in the calendar. All right, so that is the end of the tutorial. And like I said before, if you haven't purchased this template, I will leave links in the description box area so you can go ahead and grab your copy. In addition to that, your template would come with an instructions page, and this page has my contact information. It has some useful links as well as a complete step-by-step guide that you can quickly refer to when you are using this template. Thank you so much for watching.